My name is Vanessa, and at 40 years old, my 19-year-old daughter had spent 3 entire months planning what she called the biggest family Christmas ever. An event for 26 children, cousins and neighbors, all color-coded on her spreadsheet. 5 minutes before the first knock on the door, my phone rang. It was my mother. "We all decided we'll celebrate at your sister's place," she said flatly. "Don't bother coming." I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just froze. Because when betrayal comes from people who are supposed to love you the most, the pain doesn't explode. It sinks. If you've ever felt that kind of sting, the one that turns your heartbeat into static, you'll understand. 3 months later, my sister had to move to another town. But that night, 5 minutes before everything was supposed to start, I was crouched behind the snack table trying to glue a gingerbread man's eye back on like it was a matter of life and death. Because somehow in that moment, it was. Every cookie, every folded napkin, every piece of garland meant something. Across the room, Daisy stood in her red velvet dress sprinkled with tiny silver snowflakes. She'd put on a pair of elf ears that sat just slightly crooked, and her cheeks were flushed, not from makeup, but from nervous excitement. She was reciting her welcome speech for the 5th time, whispering it to a stuffed reindeer propped on the couch like it was an audience. She looked like joy personified, like holiday magic had found a human form. And then my phone buzzed again. I almost didn't answer, but the screen lit up with the word Mom. And something inside me, some old, learned reflex of dread, told me to pick up. "Hi," I said carefully. She didn't bother with greetings. "We all decided we'll celebrate at your sister's place instead." "Don't bother coming," I blinked, trying to process the words. "What?" "We're already here," she replied briskly. It made more sense. Made more sense. Sure. Because nothing says logic like canceling a 3-month planned Christmas party 5 minutes before it starts. "Mom," I said, trying to keep my voice from shaking. "She's been planning this for months." "She's 19, Vanessa. It's not a real event. You can't keep feeding her this illusion. She has a full schedule, games, crafts, a cocoa bar with printed menus." "We were just worried," she interrupted, her tone polite but immovable. "About safety. Liability. 26 children running around without professional supervision. It didn't feel appropriate. She's volunteered at kids' camps for years. She's practically raised Lauren's twins. She's not licensed. Not trained. She babysits Lauren's kids every week. For free. That's different. And Lauren already had everything set up. The tree, the food, the gifts. It's done. We just went with what made the most sense." "We?" I asked. She didn't even hesitate. "Lauren, me, your stepfather, everyone." That word, everyone, hit like a brick. Because apparently, we weren't part of everyone. I couldn't speak, not because I didn't have words, but because every word I had was sharp enough to cut. "Just tell Daisy not to take it personally," she added in a tone that made it worse. "It's nothing against her. It's just better this way." And then she hung up. I sat there staring at my phone, heart pounding so hard it felt like it might crack. From the living room, I heard the speakers click on, Daisy's playlist starting automatically. Bing Crosby's White Christmas, slowed down and acoustic, her favorite version. The sound felt like a taunt. I stood, my knees stiff, and walked into the hallway. I couldn't face her yet. My fingers shook as I called Lauren. She answered on the second ring, kids squealing in the background. "Hey," she said cheerfully. "What's up?" "You're seriously hosting it?" I asked. "Hosting what?" she said lightly. "The party? Oh yeah, it's already started. The kids are decorating cookies. It's chaos, but fun." "You knew Daisy was hosting," I said quietly. "She was trying to host," Lauren corrected. "There's a difference. She's been working for months." "I know, and it's sweet," Lauren cut in. "But we needed something a little more stable." "You mean adult. I mean safe, legal, controlled. You know, not whimsical glitter chaos." "She made allergy cards," I said. "She has a binder." "I know, Vanessa. It's cute. But let's be honest, she's not a professional. She's not even that charismatic. My lungs forgot how to work. She made 26 goodie bags," I whispered, "with personalized stickers. and that's adorable. But she's 19. She's not going to build a career out of pipe cleaners and cocoa toppings. At some point, she has to grow up. She's 19, I repeated. Exactly, Lauren said, and laughed softly like she'd won. I hung up before I said something I couldn't take back, before I drove to her house and ripped down her peppermint garland with my bare hands. When I walked back into the living room, Daisy was kneeling by the reindeer ring toss she'd made out of painted cones. "Do you think it's too hard for the little ones?" she asked, brow furrowed. I could scoot the cones closer. I couldn't speak. My soul felt unplugged. Then my phone buzzed again. The family group chat. A picture, Lauren's living room. Kids in matching pajamas, wrapping paper everywhere, everyone laughing. The caption read, "So grateful to Lauren for stepping up. Last-minute Christmas magic." No mention of Daisy. Another photo followed. My parents, glasses raised in a toast, smiling in front of the tree Daisy had offered to decorate. Across the room, Daisy looked up and caught my expression. "Mom?" Her voice trembled. I didn't answer fast enough. She crossed the room, gently took the phone from my hand, and saw everything. Her face went still, eyes scanning the photos, the messages, the people she loved most. All there, without her. "Did they know I planned this?" she asked quietly. "Yes," I whispered. "They knew." She stared at the screen for a long moment. "Then why—" Her voice faltered. "Why didn't they come?" I opened my mouth, but nothing came out that wouldn't destroy her. She looked down, swallowed hard, and whispered, "I just wanted them to see it. I thought if they saw it, they'd believe in me." My throat burned. "I know," I said. "I thought maybe they'd finally think I was good at something." "You are good at something," I said. "Then why didn't they come?" There was no answer kind enough to tell the truth. She stood slowly, her movements quiet, deliberate. "Let's pack it up," she said. "No one's coming. The cocoa's going to get weird and the marshmallows are drying out." I nodded, but my body wouldn't move. She began stacking the goodie bags she'd decorated with glitter and tiny candy canes, careful not to smudge a single name. Each one looked like it held her entire heart. I turned away, walked into the kitchen, and picked up my phone again. I started dialing, not family this time, but people who actually showed up when they said they would, because that night wasn't just about a canceled Christmas party. It was the night my daughter learned what I'd learned long ago, that sometimes the people who should love you most are the first to walk away. 3 months later, my sister moved out of town. You might think that was the ending, but really, it was just the beginning, because stories like mine never start with a party that didn't happen. They start years before, in kitchens where girls like me once sat crying quietly, trying to understand why love always came with conditions. And that night, watching Daisy sweep up fallen tinsel, I made myself a promise. She would never have to unlearn the belief that she was enough. Not from them, not from anyone. She came out screaming like she had a grievance with the world, and then fell asleep in my arms like she forgave it. Anyway, I didn't know you could fall in love that fast. I also didn't know how hard it would be, or how tired I'd get, or how many nights I'd spend Googling how to get a baby to sleep at 3 a.m., while shoving cold pasta in my mouth like it was a valid dinner. But I figured it out. I got into web design, built a client base, started a little home business, flexible hours, enough to pay the bills. And Daisy, she was my joy. Messy, loud, full of ideas and plans and imaginary friends. She assigned me to babysit when she was busy doing manager stuff. She's always loved kids, not just playing with them, organizing them. Even when she was 10, she'd put together events for the younger kids at church. Obstacle courses made out of couch cushions, magic shows, face painting. She once turned our garage into a princess disco with nothing but string lights and a Spotify playlist. By 13, she was babysitting her cousins, Lauren's kids, for free every weekend, every holiday. She never complained because to Daisy, it wasn't work, it was rehearsal. She wanted to be a children's entertainer, a real one, like business cards and everything. She dreamed about it the way other kids dream about being astronauts. And of course, the family mocked her for it. Not always directly, sometimes just with silence or those careful, "Well, that's cute," But what's your real plan? Questions. At first it was, you should learn to code. That's where the money is. Then AI became a trendy. And suddenly she should be doing something with robots. My stepdad once told her she should go into voice assistant programming because she was good at setting up his Alexa. They never asked what made her happy. They only asked what sounded impressive at dinner parties. This party, it was her way of showing them. Not telling, not asking, showing that she could organize a full-scale event, that she could lead, that she could build joy from scratch. She didn't want money. She wanted respect, maybe a crumb of pride. Instead, she got silence. Worse than that, she got replaced. Now she knows what I've known for a long time, that sometimes the people who are supposed to believe in you are the ones who need the most convincing, and sometimes they're not worth convincing at all. There's something strange about watching your kid take down the very party she built with her own hands. Daisy didn't cry. That would have almost been easier. Crying is a release. Crying says, is still care. She just shut off the lights on the puppet stage one by one, like she was closing shop after a long, pointless shift. Then she started packing up the goodie bags, quietly peeling the glitter stickers off each name tag like they were mistakes. It felt like I was watching a funeral, not for the party, for the part of her that still believed in them. And that's when I realized I couldn't let it end like this. I stepped out of the room, phone in hand. My fingers were already moving before I even had a plan. I opened my contacts list and started scrolling. Not for family. They'd made their choice. I was done begging people to love my daughter correctly. No, I was looking for everyone else. Friends from the neighborhood, co-workers with kids, moms from Daisy's old after-school group, anyone with a child under 12, and no Christmas plans. I called the first name on the list. Hey Kelly, are you busy today? You are? Okay, but hear me out. 20 minutes later, I had 6 yeses. By 30 minutes, we were at 10. Nobody needed convincing. Turns out a lot of people hadn't planned anything special for Christmas. Some were divorced, some exhausted, some just didn't want to cook. A few sounded downright thrilled. You're saying there's a party with games, and I don't have to host it. Yes, that's exactly what I was saying. Daisy walked into the hallway as I hung up my 8th call. She was holding the snowman relay cones in a box. Mom, what are you doing? I looked up at her, resurrecting Christmas. She stared at me. I invited people, I said. My people, your people, kids who'd actually appreciate a handmade goodie bag and reindeer bingo. She didn't respond. I added, they're coming. A long pause. How many? I checked my phone. 14 kids so far. She blinked. Can we do that? Like, switch plans just like that. We've got hot cocoa, paper snowflakes, and an emotional support elf. We'll be fine. She laughed just a little. Then she said, okay, and turned back toward the living room. She started setting it all up again, but this time her hands didn't shake. The first knock came 20 minutes later. It was my old friend Julie from work, her 2 kids bounding through the door like they'd won the lottery. Daisy met them at the door with a basket of Jingle Bell necklaces and a glittery name chart. Hi, welcome to the North Pole, she chirped, like she hadn't just been crushed under the weight of her entire extended family's indifference an hour ago. 5 more families followed. The house was suddenly full of kids giggling, yelling, running straight for the games like they'd been rehearsing for this. Daisy led the first round of reindeer freeze dance. She put on the elf hat again. She cracked jokes. She improvised when the snowflake toss fell apart and made it funnier. She was glowing. I stood back and watched her come alive. And I thought, look at her. Look what they threw away. It didn't take long for the parents to notice. She planned all of this, yes, by herself. Yes, she could charge for this. She should. Someone posted a photo of the puppet show. Then someone else. Then one of the moms posted a boomerang of Daisy, leading the candy cane scavenger hunt with a caption that read, "This 19-year-old just saved Christmas for my kids." Meanwhile, her family ditched the entire thing after she spent 3 months planning it. Shameful. She named names, Lauren specifically. I didn't ask her to, but I also didn't stop her. The post started picking up traction. Shares, comments, messages. Other parents chimed in. We were at the other party. We didn't know she planned it. Why didn't anyone say anything? This is so messed up. And then my phone buzzed again. A number I didn't recognize. I picked up, "Hi, is this Daisy's mom?" "Yes, this is Rebecca." "We're still at Lauren's. We just saw what's happening online." We didn't know. Didn't know what? That Daisy was the one who planned the original party. Lauren just told us plans changed. Silence then. Would it be possible to stop by even just to say hi? I looked at the clock. It was almost over. I'm sorry, I said. It's too late. Another call, another relative. They said the same thing. They didn't know. They were told there was a venue change. Now they felt sick. Too little, too late. Back at the party, Daisy was reading The Grumpy Polar Bear Who Stole the Tinsel to a Group of 6-year-olds in a Blanket Fort. One of the moms turned to me and whispered, "She's really talented." "She's always been," I said. Another mom asked, "Does she do birthdays?" "Not yet," I said, "but she will." And as I said it, Daisy looked up at me just for a second. She didn't smile, but her eyes said everything. That night, after the last kid left with a goodie bag and sticky fingers, we sat on the couch in the quiet. Daisy still had glitter in her hair. The puppet stage was leaning against the wall. The cocoa station wash half empty. One of the snowman cones had a bite taken out of it. "Don't ask me how." She exhaled slowly. "That felt real," she said. "It was. Do you think anyone else saw it?" I nodded. "Oh, they saw it." My phone buzzed again. Another comment, another share, another message. But I didn't check it. I just looked at my daughter, the one they didn't believe in, the one they underestimated, and I thought they're going to regret it. They already do. The first call came the next morning. I was halfway through microwaving day-old cocoa when my phone lit up with Mom. No emoji, no exclamation mark, just pure institutional disappointment. I should have let it go to voicemail. I didn't. The moment I picked up, she skipped right past hello and dove straight into rage. "What the hell did you do?" "No context, no patience, just fury." "Good morning to you too," I said, stirring my cocoa with a candy cane I found stuck to the fridge door. "You've humiliated the entire family online." I didn't post anything. "Don't play games, Heather. People are calling us, texting, asking questions, judging. Your daughter's little pity party is all over Facebook." I took a sip. Lukewarm, overly sweet, and somehow perfect for this conversation. "Maybe they're not judging you," I said. "Maybe they just saw what you did. We didn't do anything. You didn't show up. That's a start. It was a reasonable decision." "No, what would have been reasonable was showing up for your granddaughter." There was a pause. The kind that comes when someone realizes they've lost the upper hand but aren't ready to admit it. Then she hissed, "You need to fix this." That was the moment Ismail led. By noon, Lauren had joined the chorus. "You're lucky I'm not suing you," she snapped, texting in all caps like a woman with a law degree from Facebook University. "You let people slander me. You encouraged it." "No one slandered you," I replied. "They told the truth. If that's damaging, maybe examine why it's damaging. You just let it happen on purpose. You're vindictive." That made me laugh. "You ditched your niece on Christmas Eve and took credit for her work. But yes, clearly I'm the villain. Take it down." All of it. I didn't respond. Instead, I opened my phone, pulled up my photos, and drafted my own post. It wasn't dramatic. I didn't call anyone out by name. I just posted 3 photos. One of Daisy leading the puppet show, one of the reindeer ring toss mid-laughter, and one of the hot cocoa bar, complete with her handwritten chalkboard menu. Then I wrote, "This was my daughter's first solo children's event. She planned every detail for months. The original guest didn't show up, so we opened our doors to friends instead. And she saved Christmas for 24 kids. I've never been prouder." That was it. No shade, no specifics. But the people who needed to understand, they did. The post exploded. Within hours, Daisy's inbox was full. Comments, messages, booking requests. Parents who'd attended wanted her for birthday parties, school events, even a neighborhood spring fair. One message read, "Do you do themed birthdays? My son loves dinosaurs." Another said, "I'd pay a lot for that cocoa bar setup. You've got a real talent." That night, she sat across from at the kitchen table, laptop open, surrounded by sketches of balloon arches and sample party package names. "Do I sound too desperate if I call it whimsy and wonder?" she asked. "No," I said. "You sound like a CEO," she beamed. And I swear to God, in that moment, I saw the girl she was and the woman she was becoming, and both of them were unstoppable. The next morning, the local parenting blog picked up the story. Small outlet, friendly tone, title, teen event planner, saves Christmas after last-minute family cancellation. They didn't name names. They didn't have to. People in our circle connected the dots faster than I could refresh the page, and the consequences rolled in. People started distancing themselves from my parents, from Lauren. "Oh, I just assumed you were busy" became the new polite version of "you were awful and we all know it." Lauren's Instagram comments dried up overnight. The dinner invitation stopped. No more smiley reactions under her family first posts. It turns out when you build your image in being the golden child, it only takes one snowflake to melt the whole illusion. Another call came that afternoon, this time from my stepdad. Amon, who hadn't said a single word throughout all of this. "Heather," his started voice tight, "we're getting calls. I heard you need to shut this down." I let the silence hang. "Then no." "Heather, you watched her build that party and you let it happen. You let Mom do it. You let Lauren take over. You said nothing." More silence. "She's your granddaughter," I said, then corrected myself. "Well, she could have been, if you'd ever treated her that way. You're blowing this out of proportion." She cried in silence so no one would hear her, I said. His voice cracked, not with regret, with panic. "You'll destroy this family." "No," I said, calm and sure. "I'm just done pretending it isn't already broken." And I hung up. Later that week, Daisy launched her website. It had everything. Party packages, photos from the event, a little about me section that read, "I've loved kids' parties since I was a kid myself. My first big solo event didn't go quite as planned, but it turned into something even better." That's when I realized joy doesn't come from approval. It comes from doing what you love. I didn't help her write that. She did it all herself. A few hours after it went live, a mom messaged her to book a kid's Valentine's Day party. And just like that, she had her first paying client. And the family, we blocked them. Every number, every thread, every group chat. We didn't write a dramatic goodbye. No final confrontation, no open door. We just left the building. Because sometimes peace doesn't come from forgiveness. It comes from choosing silence where the noise used to live. And sometimes the only way to heal is to stop inviting the people who keep reopening the wound. Daisy and I sat in the quiet that night. The house still smelled like peppermint and wood glue. She turned to me and said, "Do you think they'll ever apologize?" I thought for a second. "No," I said, "but we don't need them to." She nodded. And then she smiled. Not that smile she gives the world. The one she saves just for me. The one that says we're going to be okay. And we are. We didn't ruin the family. We just stopped pretending it wasn't already broken. 3 months later, I found out through Facebook. Well, technically through Lauren's soft goodbye post on Facebook. A filtered photo of a half-empty living room. A cardboard box labeled Christmas decorations. And a caption that read, "Sometimes the people you thought would always be there are the ones who hurt you most. Here's to new beginnings. Cue the dramatic piano music." Turns out they moved. Not across the country, just a few towns over, but far enough to avoid questions. Far enough to dodge the social fallout. Apparently, when you publicly abandon your teenage niece's Christmas party and then get gently roasted by half the community, the consequences do show up. Just not how you expect. Their new neighbors don't know the story, but if they've got Wi-Fi and Facebook memories, it's only a matter of time. As for Daisy, she's booked solid. She even hired a friend part-time to help with weekend events. The girl who was told her dreams were childish now has a wait list. But now we want to hear from you. Did I go too far or not nearly far enough? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell.